Oh, I guess we're going.
Yep.
Alright, hi. This is going to be part 1 of a Nola Nerd,
video
I don't
thing.
want to say weekly, but just a concurrent video type of dealie where we, this is the Nola Nerd graphic novel breakdown.
We buy lots of them.
Number 1.
So we want to talk to you about it.
We are big fans of buying graphic novels, even if there are issues that we already own. That's
you. That's not me.
If it's good enough, I want to buy it in trade form too. Like big events and stuff. Doesn't matter. Normally we're going to focus on 1 or 2 at a time, but we just came through a big burst of books that we just read.
Tons of shit got released.
This is going to be a lot of just quick hits. This is going to be mine, and then in graphic novel breakdown 2, it's going to be Chris's.
Our first test went for like an hour.
Yeah,
so
our first one was 29 minutes, and it turns out we're not cool enough to have a video that long yet. So we're just going to jump in because I've already used up a minute, and I've got a lot to talk about.
Let's roll.
First one I read this recently was The Flash Omnibus number 2 by Geoff Johns on his very well-renowned Flash run. This is the book that creates Hunter Zolomon, a.k.a. Professor Zoom.
I like that it's much thicker than the other one.
It's about twice the size of
the other one. Was really struggling for its $75 price tag.
This one definitely justifies it. This is also the book that introduces the new Trickster, and shows that both Pied Piper and the original Trickster and Heatwave have quit being rogues and have tried to rehabilitate themselves.
Play it straight.
It's got a great. I'm trying to think of I think it was called Crossfire. It was like a big Flash. It was a Flash event at the time, apparently, that they collected in this. It was great. I mean, it does what Geoff Johns does best, and it's a breakdown Flash to his core components, which is the family and the legacy and the Speed Force and everything. And we've talked about this before. The best thing about Flash is that his rogues gallery, they're not pure evil. Flash has a rapport with them. And this book was the rogues finally accepting Wally as Flash. They kept comparing him negatively to Barry, and this is him coming into his own, and the rogues respecting that. As a newer fan of DC, comparatively, it was really nice to see the first appearances of all these things. Like, this is the first appearance of the Thinker from Checkmate. The little, the computer guy.
Oh, yeah.
Who's made, like, a computer program.
Yeah. He's
in this. Just a whole bunch of great characters. Really enjoy it. Got some Gorilla Grodd moments, because why not? Guy called Goldface.
He's an old-timey Green Lantern villain.
Is he?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
He's yellow.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's $75, right?
$75, worth it. I think there's one more coming out in September.
Yep.
But Geoff Johns' run on this is notable for a reason, and this is just a very enjoyable read. I burned through it in one night, and that's a big-ass book. Moving on, I've been on kind of a Brian K. Vaughn kick of late due to the incredible saga and the fact that Chris and I both really enjoy Runaways. So, Chris has owned this for a long time. I finally just kind of went downstairs and read it because fuck it, It
was easily hidden behind all the other stuff.
Well, and it's Brian K. Vaughn's Pride of Baghdad. Ooh, yay,
nice
no glare. I know, right? You want to do the little, ooh, yeah, Pride of Baghdad. This book is fantastic. If there's one thing Brian K. Vaughan is known for, it's his world building. And so this has that in spades. Like it's basically a one shot. It's not an ongoing like his other work, so he has to tell a self-contained story, and he still does it in his classic way where nothing's spoon-fed to you. He peels back a layer every time someone says something or there's a flashback. You learn a little bit more about the world. This story is about 4 lions that are escaping from a zoo in Baghdad. The circumstances behind their escape and what's going on are part of the fun to figure it out. It's based on a true story, which I didn't know until you get to the end, and he goes, hey, fuckers, this is based on a true story. The art is incredible. I'm just going to show the scene that just kind of blew my mind graphically. Don't mind me. Bam.
Kicking off time on the internet.
Yay!
No one can see that.
They can see that. I just showed it. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Fantastic. It's a very emotional read. You get a good... He creates this whole animal kingdom style where all the animals interact with each other. They all have anthropomorphic features. It's just really good. You liked it.
I did like it.
You kept telling me to read it, and I just... Best turtle in fiction.
It's such a gorgeous, fun book.
It's sad, though. Very sad. So yeah, Pride of Baghdad. How much is it?
Pride of Baghdad retails for $12.99. There's no reason.
There's no reason to buy it. Amazon probably has it for under $10. You're a fool if you don't own it, or have someone that owns it like I did.
Exactly.
Moving on to a non-Brian K. Vaughn book. For now. There's lots of indie books that people keep telling us are great, and then I just never really get around to reading them until it comes out in some kind of awesome hardcover deluxe edition. Like Preacher, I didn't buy until they were collected in deluxe books. Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan, same thing. This one, it's still ongoing, but they already came out with just gorgeous collectors. And this is Chew, the Omnivore editions, 1 and 2. That's Guillory is a local too. He's a Louisiana boy, lives up in Lafayette. So that was
say it weird like that.
Lafayette.
Stop it.
It was
is that
fun.
Where the Thieves Guild is?
It's where the Thieves Guild is.
Okay.
No, but I mean it's nice. That was a nice surprise to find out that he's local for us. But this story is just great. It's about a man named Chew, Chu, who is a cybopathic guy. Is that it? Yeah.
It's hard to
It's a cybopathy. And in this book, all these people have really cool food-based powers. His is he can eat anything and figure out its entire history. Like he can bite into an apple and get a feel of where it was grown, when it was plucked, what pesticides were used on it. He can eat into a piece of bacon and get a flash of the pig being slaughtered. And there's lots of other people with unique powers. Like his girlfriend has the power she's a cyboscriber. Anything she writes about, anyone who reads it can taste what she's talking about. And there's a guy who can communicate feelings and thoughts through his food, and a guy who becomes smarter the more he eats. It's just this is such a high concept, original story. The gist of it is the whole millions of people were wiped out in some bird flu epidemic, and now poultry is outlawed, and the FDA is the highest governmental agency in the land. And it basically stems from there. It's very world-building-ish as well, where they don't tell you. I mean, we just found out the cause of what the catastrophe was, and we still don't know what really caused it. Every page peels back more mysteries. Every issue tells you a little bit more. And that's what makes it so good. This is definitely a book I'm going to read. I bought it on a whim because Amazon had it on sale, and I am definitely sticking with it. Art is gorgeous.
It's very nice cartooning.
It's very cartoony, very stylized, but it's done in a way that is just really nice for the tone it sets. And it has something that I always respect in a hardcover, the little ribbon thing for holding your place.
You're easily swayed by
I am
ribbon.
easily swayed by that because it's classy. Classy like a motherfucker.
I don't think that's true.
I think it's a thing.
Okay.
Give it back.
All right, take it.
All right. Finally,
That's a lot.
what?
I totally want it.
You want Chew? I know you do.
Yeah.
You can read them.
Okay.
They're good.
I'll read them later.
You don't have to touch yourself. Though.
I have a lot of stuff to read.
Do you? You do.
Yeah, I do.
You're really far behind.
Yeah.
Finally, Brian K. Vaughan kick again. Runaways, we're huge fans of. Pride of Baghdad was really good. We're currently in love with Saga. And Why the Last Man was something I picked up at last Christmas, just burned through the entire series. So I figured there's only one major thing left to get. And that was I decided, you know what, it's time to try out the entire run. Woo!
You could have just gotten by with one of those.
I could have. Ex Machina.
I'm not holding all those.
You don't have to, sir.
Good.
You can hold one.
Yeah, maybe.
You can hold number 1.
Running out of time.
There you go. I'm not running out of time. I've got time. So, Ex Machina is they call it sci-fi meets the West Wing, and it's very apt. It's got a lot of political bent, and it's the closest thing outside of actual Runaways that he's ever done to a true superhero book. It's about a guy who's granted powers to communicate and control machines. He tries his hand at being a superhero, but decides, I can do more good running for office, and he becomes the mayor of New York after 9/11. It's an alternate reality with a lot of only one significant change from our reality, and the reveal on that is a great twist, so I won't spoil it here, but Brian K. Vaughan is at his best here in that everything seems so simple at first, but every time it peels back a layer, you learn more about the world. Like in a passing mention in the very beginning, they mentioned he had an arch enemy at the beginning, a nemesis. You don't find out about him until like book 2, the tail end of hardcover book 2, who he was and why he was a villain. Eventually, at the end, we get to find out, we learn the history of why he got his powers, who gave them to him, everything like that. My only problem with this is it ends on a very ambiguous note. There's a slight epilogue, but it's left very open-ended. However, the greatest thing at the end was the most meta thing I've ever read, and I showed Chris this as he just reads the book for no reason.
No reason at all.
There's a scene where Brian K. Vaughan and the artist, I'm trying to think, Tony Harris. Tony Daniels is an actor, isn't he?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Tony Harris. They are as themselves go to New York to pitch a comic book style autobiography of the mayor, and I guess we're to assume that Ex Machina is that, and it's really funny because Brian K. Vaughan's a bald guy, and the mayor comes up to him and goes, "Michael Bendis, I love your work." And there's just little moments like that. It was a whole issue where Brian K. Vaughan pitches the very idea of Ex Machina to the character from Ex Machina. It was the most meta thing not done by Grant Morrison. Overall, extremely happy I got these books. Definitely worth a purchase. Amazon had these for $19.99 a piece, but they retail for $29.99 each. However, $100 gets you the full set unless there's an actual sale on Amazon, but it was worth every penny of it for me. Very enjoyable read. Highly recommend it to anyone who's currently enjoying Saga or enjoys any other Brian K. Vaughan work. That's pretty much all I got. Anything you want to do? Since you didn't really jump in on anything, just kind of read the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never read it, but it's good. It looks really good. It's really interesting. So.
There we go. So yeah, that was episode 1 of the Nola Nerd Podcast graphic novel breakdown. When I hit this end button, we're basically just going to launch right into number 2 and let Chris talk about his stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for joining us. Check us out on Facebook, Nola Nerd Podcast, Twitter at Nola Nerd Podcast, this YouTube channel. You can also go on iTunes and listen to our audio podcasts. We have them about comics, movies, games, all kinds of stuff.
The whole shebang.
The whole shebang. It's a thing, right? I don't know. But as always, I'm Matt.
Chris.
And we're nerds. It's a thing. That's our thing. Just accept it.
It's an awful thing.
All right. Bye, guys.